Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Final Show Films. I am Sen, your executive producer here, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. I particularly want to thank our $25 tier supporters over on our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms, those being Drevian, Alexander, Samantha Bates, and L, without whom we wouldn't be able to do nearly as much of the things we do now. So thank you very much for your support over the years, and for those of you tuning in live, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. And we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of Exandria Rising, this D&D 5th edition actual play series. I am Sen, your game master for the evening. I am joined this week by Shawnee.
Hi, I am Johnny or William, and I am playing Najka Flamehowl, who at the moment is a relic keeper.
A level 0 relic keeper. And Jack.
Hi, I'm Jack. And tonight I'm going goblin mode with the goblins Meanie Manny, Gesby, and Peas.
The Good Goblins, who are also a level 0 relic keeper at the moment. And Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly. I am playing Davina, who is a Silky Folk, currently a courier.
And Craig.
Hi, I will be playing Grouper, who is a level 0 Ocantha Animal Master. Yes, Animal Master.
And Jeremy.
Hello, I'm Jeremy. I am playing Elefera, who is a water genasi expert class.
As always, trans rights are human rights, Black Lives Matter, and this stream is powered by Sirenscape.
Fuck Vince McMahon.
For those of my players who might not be in Sirenscape yet.
Oh, yeah, huh.
Don't worry, you have time.
Okay.
Yes, welcome to this. We will be joined next week, hopefully, by Drevian, who wasn't able to make it for the first episode. We'll hopefully be picking up with the second episode. Just a bit of a disclaimer up at the front. This is a 5th edition D&D game set in the world of Exandria, as created by Matt Mercer of Critical Role. But it is my own particular take on the world. So some of the things that I might describe, some of the things that I might have added into the world are not necessarily going to be things that you will see represented in the core experience of playing in Exandria. This is just my own personal take on things. So if there's something that doesn't seem quite right or familiar, don't worry about it. I have ADHD and couldn't be bothered to thoroughly read front to back the entire book of the Campaign Guide Reborn. And also
Should we also explain what the classes are that we're doing?
Yes. So for anybody that's unfamiliar with the things that have been popping up, this is going to be starting off as a level 0 campaign, and I have made some tweaks to existing systems to make that work in a way that's satisfying to me and hopefully to my players as well. We are currently using, for the basis of their level 0 classes, the auxiliary classes from Mage Hand Press's Valda's Spire of Secrets. If you're interested in picking that up and taking a look at those. So Relic Keeper, Animal Master, Expert, and Courier are all auxiliary levels from the Mage Hand Press book. All right. We begin not with our players, actually. Instead, hang on, as I find names for things. Could I just grab the books that are on the floor behind me? Yes. But will I? No. Okay. We begin with our camera in a narrative sense. Overlooking a set of ruins east of the city of Kaimal, in the center of the continent of Taldore. situated on the southern border of the Ivyheart Thicket, the ruins of Torthel are pre-calamity ruins that at various times are occupied by a number of different bandit factions, using the ruined civilization there for their own ends. As I desperately try to find the background music that I was trying to do. Is it this one? I think it's this one. Yes, there it is. Okay. As usual, the ruins are currently occupied by a variety of individuals, but our camera is focusing currently on a single individual who is moving silently through the brush, shrouded in blue, in a very particular blue that normally reserved for inquisitives of the Cobalt Soul. This individual, whose face we do not see, moves quietly through the ruins, ducking past various parts where they might be seen by any of the occupants of the ruins currently, before stopping and gazing at a symbol that has been painted over one fallen wall. The symbol is a raised fist, holding in it a lit torch. As the figure ponders that symbol for a moment, the camera pulls back before rapidly flying up into the air across the world to an island in the Lucidian Ocean. You all, my players, are denizens of the port town of Skrios on the island of Tuartakala. This is a retirement community, functionally, for adventurers and heroes that have earned their rest through various means. And as many adventurers will attest, oftentimes there are parental casualties with being an adventurer. So sometimes there are orphans in these sorts of towns, which is the case here. However, you all, orphan or not, are currently in a class together, being taught by the priest of the Dawnfather in Skrios, Father Martin Luxmender, who is both the priest, the only current priest of the Dawnfather in Skrios, and also the head of the orphanage/academy. He sort of has several hats in the community because he does all the jobs that typically adventurers don't do. So he ends up having to wear lots of hats.
All of them, including the gardener? Oh, wait, we've also got Sam Ganges.
Yep. Sam is an adventurer and is a gardener, so no, he doesn't do that one. Father Martin is an aged man, pale skin, blonde hair rapidly going to white as it gets longer and tied back behind him, large bushy beard, visibly elder individual with missing his left leg, is missing from the knee down, being replaced with a peg leg, and his right arm is also missing from the elbow down, instead being replaced with a complex series of clockwork mechanics that provides him a prosthetic arm. He leans heavily on a walking stick as he moves about his day, educating the group of you. In particular, this is the last day of school for this particular season, before the summer hits, before the school breaks for the summer. And also, for some of you, it is your last summer on the island. You're not all the same age, but you are all in the same class, functionally, as the education system. The population of Skrios is not so large that they need more than one educator at any given time. So children from a bit of an age range tend to be taught together. At the moment, you are all packing for a trip It's the last lesson of the year, and it has been indicated to you by Father Martin that it is going to be a field trip. So while he is currently packing a very large backpack, the rest of you are gathering your things. You are in the Temple of the Dawn Father. There are pews and benches in rows what you normally sit in while he lectures from one of the various books that's been donated to the temple by the Archive of the Cobalt Soul that is on the other side of the island. But at the moment, you are maneuvering about through the trading supplies, gathering weapons and wooden training swords, training shields, whatever items you might feel is more suited to you for the trip ahead. Nashka, what are you doing to prepare for this field trip that is apparently going to be heading a little bit of ways north towards the forest just north of the Squilt River?
So Najka is, she's sort of like finishing writing down whatever notes had been from the lecture before the trip had begun. Sort of closes the notes that she had been working on and puts them in her pack, and just walks over to the wall where most of her stuff is set whenever she walks in. Most, not all, because constantly on her back whenever she's not at the forge is Goban, the forge maul. This sort of like massive obsidian molten hammer that is constantly sitting over her shoulder and occasionally arguing with her. But she walks over to the wall and picks up the wood cutting axe that she primarily uses to chop lumber for the forge, and the training crossbow that her mother gave her.
And what does Nashka look like?
Najka is an orc. She is she's not at her full height yet because she is much younger. She's at least 5 years younger than normal. She is still probably the tallest person in the room, at probably like 6'2", as opposed to her full height. Relatively lean, has not quite put on the raw bulk of muscle that is considered typical of fully grown orcs. But her hair is this sort of long mixture of red and black that sort of drapes around, sort of framing her still relatively youthful face, and is pulled back into a long braided ponytail that rests about mid-back. Dressed in dark leathers and hides that are more traditionally of her mother's make and style, even if the equipment that she carries is more akin to her father's, and her particular training is more akin to her father's. Her eyes are sort of blood, like vibrant, bright red. I wouldn't say blood red, that's too dark. It's like fire red. And her skin is a sort of like emeralds, like emerald green.
Yeah, no, at 6'2", you're taller than Father Martin at the very least, who stands at just under 6 foot, about 5'11". Though he does have a stoop, so maybe in his youth he might have been taller, but
Yeah.
Age and gravity tend to do a number on your spine. Speaking of age, would Najka be one of the older students? One of the ones that would be leaving at the end of the summer, or is Najka?
I think so. I think she is one of, if not the oldest.
It's like 19, 20.
Yeah, she's about 20, 21. Yeah.
Okay. Craig, what is Grouper doing to prepare for the journey ahead?
Grouper he has a satchel that he is in the process of making sure it's full of food for the trip. He is he's, I think, probably in the midst of attaching straps, either trying to figure out a way to incorporate it into the backpack or into the satchel, or rather make it into a backpack. He has a wooden cask that he's filled with water, in case we're away from water for a while. He wants to carry that with him. And he is also taking probably an offcut from the straps that he's putting onto the cask, and is testing that out to use as a sling.
Okay.
And would also grab a walking stick, but beyond that, he's not really arming up.
And what does Grouper look like?
Gruber is a Lokatha. He is a small piscine fish-like person. The majority of the skin on his face and on his back is sort of a grayish green. His underbelly is a very, very light pale sea green. He wears oiled fishing waders, and he has a broad oiled leather cap to keep the sun off of his head and stop him from drying out as much as possible. He has a little tail that is webbed, that comes out of a specially fashioned slit in the back of the waders, and he is followed as long as she would be allowed in here.
Oh yeah, no, there's
He's,
Father Martin allows quite a lot actually in the Temple of the Dawn Father, including a seal.
Yeah, he is followed by his pet seal Flop, who is helping pack as well, which seems to largely consist of investigating most of the food that Grouper is packing. And by investigating, I mean she is chewing on most of it.
Food inspection is a very important task for any animal.
Yeah. Well, we have to make sure everything gets the seal of approval.
Jack, what are the good goblins doing?
Gesby is sitting at a table. She already has her flute. She is by far the shortest, by a couple inches, the shortest of the good goblins. The good goblins, with straw-colored hair, a passive, hyper-focused face that jumps readily to an expression of compassion, and wears a pink and purple dress that Father Martin was certain she'd like. They've grown up in the orphanage for most of their life, so their clothing also comes from the orphanage. Meanie Manny is looking at the training weapons and choosing a wooden sword to take with him. His face, when focused, looks a lot like a scowl, and he carries himself like he knows how to punch someone and is ready to. He pushes his red hair back from his face every time it falls forwards, and wears a red scarf and uses suspenders to hold up a pair of pants he can be proud of. He usually has some dirt smeared on his face somewhere or other. Peas is also peeking at the training weapons and just going to quickly grab a wooden dagger. He's doe-eyed with tousled hair, and his shoulders are always stiff. He would be the tallest of the good goblins if he didn't always slouch. He has a well-worn vest and keeps his pants up with a bit of rope.
The slouch, the piece of slouch, is that more of a I am trying to avoid being observed slouch, or is it a Father Martin has a slouch, so I guess I do too slouch?
The first one.
Okay.
Don't notice me.
Holly, what is Davina doing?
She is. She packed most things the night before. She's very excited. And she has grabbed a wooden sword off of the rack. And she is, Flop is the name, right? Of the seal?
Yes, Flop.
She is not so sneakily giving Flop some of her food to snack on.
I I feel like the dynamic is like basically favorite aunt versus like actual parent who has to discipline, right? Like you
This
never
is the one that always gives me treats and
yeah,
spoils me and loves me. Yeah.
yeah, you never discipline Flop, right? Flop just gets
Never,
you
no.
consistently. Okay, yeah.
All right.
It's not my
And
pet.
what does Davina look like?
Davina is 5 feet. She has fair skin. She is small in build. She has long, dark hair with silver tips, a rounded face, and big round blue eyes. She wears a lot of blues and silvers and has a shirt with flowing sleeves, and she usually carries her violin on her and has slightly webbed hands and slightly webbed toes.
All right. And Jeremy, what is Elafira doing to prepare?
Ella has also probably gotten prepared in advance for the most part. She has picked out of weapons a rapier. Um, and she is just sort of sitting off to the side. Currently, honestly, a little bit more concerned about her nails than anything else. Making sure that they are properly shaped and cleaned, etc. She's a water genasi. Teal skin, um, about just a little bit over 5.5 feet. Um, Clearly somebody of a higher financial level family. Her clothing is built very much for style. A cropped corset top underneath a coat, pants and high boots, all matched in shades of greens and browns. A necklace with an Alexandrite gemstone. Yellow eyes, sort of a metallic pine green sheen to her hair. About shoulder length. Um, and yeah, she is just sort of taking her time, waiting to go.
Actually, let me fix that. I messed up on that. So I just put the stats for the training weapons in the chat there. If anyone needs to put those into your inventory, you can gather as many of them as you want. The training foil does not have light. It's just martial and finesse. I added light instinctively because whenever I see finesse, I expect light.
Fair.
All right, so you are all gathering your things. Father Martin is maneuvering through you as he does, helping to gather things, handing a few things to a few of you. He actually specifically hands a package of incense to Peas. And just very quietly, just very softly, if you would please carry this for me, Peas, I'd appreciate it.
He just nods and returns to Gesby.
Ruffles the hair before he heads out. And then once you all have gathered your things, all right, children, for our final lesson, we are heading to an overlook in the forest just north of here. We'll be traveling along the river, so Groupa, if you need to refill your barrel, do so before we leave the river. Should only be a few hours' walk. And he begins the arrhythmic thumping of his peg leg and walking staff begins striking up a marching beat as the rest of you finalize gathering your things and follow. Are there any conversations? Oh, bud.
I realized I didn't describe how tall Gruber is. Gruber, if he was physically capable of standing fully straight, he'd probably be about 4 feet. He's a little under that because of a sort of sort of
Mhm.
natural fish curve to the spine.
Is that fish spine?
Yeah.
Is there any conversations that are happening amongst the students as you are leaving the temple and heading towards the river and out of town? It's okay if there
He
are none.
doesn't talk to anybody, but he does hold Gesby's hand.
Are Grouper and Ella holding hands as well?
Oh, hell yes.
I think sort of as they're leaving, just sort of over her shoulder, Najka just offhandedly, "We'll be back at the forge later. We don't need to head back immediately. This is important."
Just none of the rest of you can hear it, but there is just dwarven. There is it's the specifically the sort of dwarven gibberish you would get from a mountain dwarf that hasn't had contact with anybody that wasn't a mountain dwarf in 300 years. And so the already very truncated dwarven language has become even more truncated to a point where it's barely intelligible. None of you hear that, but Shawnee gets it in her brain. Or Najka gets it in her brain.
You know the version of Scottish that even Scottish people have a hard time understanding.
That, yeah. They say something, and half the people in the room go, "Fuck."
What do the rest of us know about that situation?
You know that Najka depends on how much Najka has shared, but without Najka having shared anything, you know that Najka has seemingly a magic hammer that occasionally flares up a little bit and seems to talk to her, though none of you can hear it. Would Najka have shared anything additional?
I feel like most everyone is aware that Najka is a full-blooded orc and that her mother is a full-blooded orc, but her father is a dwarf. As a specifically one of the island smiths. Her mother was an adventurer. They presumably met sometime over the course of their adventures. After her mother was pregnant with her. And that the hammer is an artifact of her father's family lineage that has been passed down to her as her father's only child. And that she is inheriting it and is to carry on the line of her father's legendary smiths.
Yeah, and you would all know Thorben, Najka's father, runs the Eternal Flame, which is a smithy that specializes in weapons.
Yes.
Specializes in weapons in town. There are a couple of different craftsmen's workplaces, smithies, things like that in town. But that one is the one that is the warmest year round. To put it succinctly.
And I feel like everyone is also aware of the thing that happens with her name, which is her name is a mixture of both of her parents' names. Because her father is Thorben was it Flamesmith?
Yeah, Flamesmith. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her father is Thorben Flamesmith, and her mother is Garna Stormhowl. So she is Najka Flamehowl.
Okay.
All right. You proceed. Skrios is a town that sort of straddles a river, the Squelt River specifically, that comes down from the central section of the island. It is a port town. It's not very large, population of less than 1,000 people, but it mostly gets by off of the general fortune of retired adventurers, all of whom have they've moved to this place to get away from the hustle and bustle of the more populated areas. It is an island situated right in the middle of a trade route of sort of a trade triangle. That splits between going to Stilben to the west, which is on Taldore, and going towards Wildmount to the north, and then further out into the Lucidian Ocean to the south and east. And so, because Skrios is the only port on this island, which is a function of its geography, because the island of Tuatikala tilts. It's like basically once you leave Skrios, it is a steady incline upwards, until you reach the peak of the island, either in the Farosh Mountains, which are entirely on one side of the island, or at Kratom, which is on the other side of the island, on the cliff peaks on the other end. And so, as such, the land around Skrios is the only one that's actually at sea level enough to have a port. So it's lots of low-rise buildings, a couple of more identifiable landmark buildings, a few that are definitely only possible by magic. The kind of place where people that have had a lot of wild and varied experiences decided, you know what, we're going to form a community, we're going to raise our kids, and we're going to let the world deal with itself over there. So everybody knows everybody, to a degree. Very rarely do you meet a stranger in Skrios. And people are, wave to the class as you head out. Some of the older kids that are back visiting, having left on their own pilgrimages. Most people tend to leave right around the 21st year to go out and seek their fame and fortune, and some come back every few years, either successful or not, or just visiting family. But it doesn't take very long following the river for you to get out of town. The rolling plains of the Dolce Plains also sort of spreads before and up from you. Like I said, it's very odd to have what is considered a plain on a like a I think it was like a 25-degree slant, but it is flat aside from the incline. And visible to the north is a small batch of trees. There's not a lot of forest on this half of the island. Most of the forest is the jungle on the other half of the Tuar Cleft, which you all know about. But small batch of woods just to the north where hunters will go to get game and things like that. After a few hours of walking, during which Grouper can dip into the river to reset the 4-hour timer on having to not dry out, you manage to get to your destination. It's a small hill that rises up and overlooks a section of the forest, and you can sort of just see over the tops of some of the trees, on which there is this red, sort of crimson red light that is just ambiently. You would say it looks almost like will-o-wisps or just like motes of starlight that have become stationary, just hanging around on top of the hill. Upon arriving, you see that there are a number of bodies on this hilltop. Humanoid. They look to have. You recognize these as some traders that stopped in at the port relatively recently, about a week ago. And it looks like they've been gored by a boar, possibly, and managed to get to this hilltop before they expired. This is not.
Oh.
This is not any of your first time seeing a dead body. But it is a little unsettling every time.
Does Father Martin seem surprised?
No.
Father Martin, did you know about this?
I did. This is the reason. This is the lesson for today. The cost of life.
Right, they didn't come back into town.
The divine veil that I've told you about before, that separates the gods from our world, erected at the end of the calamity, separates more than just the gods. It also provides a barrier for the souls of the fallen that they cannot pass through on their own. My final lesson for some of you he says, looking it towards Najka. Who else would this be? Probably their last year on the island before heading out after the summer, other than Najka. Elefira?
Elefira for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's Grouper's last year of sort of being of learning age, but he has not expressed any intent to leave the island. It seems like he'll be done with school, but will be continuing to work at the docks.
These might be the youngest, so
yeah,
we're not leaving yet.
So I think Bavina's got one more year.
Okay, so specifically looking towards the three that are basically going to be done with schooling at this point. Though many people in professions such as mine would be contacted should any travelers find bodies like this, it is important that everyone know what to do should you find death in your travels. And he'll sort of arrange you all in a semicircle around these bodies, which seem to be, now that you're closer to them, seem to be leaking this red energy that is coalescing around them. What you're seeing is stagnant ether, the energy that forms our souls, our life, our magics. When we die, this ether needs to be sent on through the divine veil. Otherwise, it stagnates. This is where monsters come from. Creatures that arise from sites of death. And if the souls are not sent on, over time, more and more will arise. And they will increase in numbers and danger. I was told by one of our hunters that they spotted the stagnant ether from a distance yesterday. And it seemed a good opportunity to teach you this most important of lessons. He sets this... He had been... Father Martin, you all know, was a soldier in his youth. And as old as he is, and as far as all you can tell, he is ancient, particularly considering he's a human. He's definitely somewhere upwards of 80, 90. He still has that wiry muscle that he gained from his days soldiering. Many of you have seen in the church, in the temple itself, there is a dusty old mannequin that has armor of an unknown legion worn over it, and you realize as he's moving around, he's actually wearing that armor today. None of you have ever seen him wear it before. He pulls off of his back this large heavy metal brazier, sets it in the middle of the field. Peace, if you would. Holding a hand towards Peace.
Peace hands over the incense.
He prepares a fire in the brazier, lights it, and tosses some incense into it, and then produces from his bag a woodwind flute. The ceremony varies from person to person, from faith to faith. Many armies have their own particular off-seeing ceremonies. But any of you can do this. A song played from the heart, or sung, with the intention to guide those that have passed, is all that is required. If any of you would like to join me, as he places the flute, this woodwind flute, this reed flute to his mouth, and begins to play.
What does Elefira? Does Elefira have any sort of musical talent?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, a different.
She might think she does,
yeah,
but she does not.
Yeah, that was my next question. What musical talent does Elefira think she has?
That's a good question.
Does she think she's a good singer?
No, she's not. She's not deaf. Probably something like a flute, something like that.
We got a lot of flutes.
Yeah.
So if we didn't say we brought it, but we have it, can we have the instrument, or
Sure.
did we not bring it? We didn't call it out. Okay.
Sure, no, you can have an instrument and the basic stuff.
So, group returns and he gets out this what looks essentially like a fish skin violin with a membrane over the hole, so it can be played underwater. Does Ella have a flute with her?
Show does.
So
Very sorry.
pulls it out, reaches over, and kind of pats her on the lower back, sort of in the same manner of someone of a normal, more conventional comparative height would pat on the shoulders, and goes, "Come on, Princess Pearl, you're so great with that flute. Why don't you get it out? Let's start playing."
I hate.
And she
that
does.
Grouper is just meatwad now.
Oh,
It's very hard to talk out of the water. You guys all sound stupid underwater, but I don't say anything about it.
I like to think the underwater grouper just has the deepest bass voice.
I texted you what his voice sounds like underwater.
Oh, I'm sure you did. I don't remember. That's just my thing right now. So 2 of you are joining. Is anyone else going to join in on the ceremony?
Davina will pull out her violin and join in.
Gatsby doesn't intend to overcrowd this
That's fine.
musical performance.
Go ahead.
Nashka has religion rather than performance, and so we'll just sort of like pull the forge maul off of her back and just sort of hold it up as it sort of ignites for a bit. And for the performance that she would have been taught is more of like a cremation ceremony kind of thing.
Sure.
The giving the body to the flame kind of.
Yep. So go ahead. So if you are proficient, you may roll religion, performance, or an instrument that you are proficient in. We're looking for DC 10.
Yeah.
if we're not proficient, can we roll anyways without any kind of proficiency?
If you're not proficient, you can roll just a charisma check. It won't have an effect. You have to be proficient to send the spells, but you can do it for performance sake.
Dang, awesome.
Turn off auto roll. Roll advantage. But yeah,
I'm turning it off now.
21's good.
How do we
Fake it
turn
till you
off
make it.
auto?
In the gear, upper right hand corner of the gear, it is the third column. Is the column all the way to the right?
Although
second.
if you're talking about the little skill
Option.
bonus thing that you have there, Craig, just uncheck it in your in the skill bonuses section.
No, it's guidance for some reason. I'm rolling with guidance.
Yeah, just uncheck it. Guidance is the default skill bonus that your sheet comes with. Just uncheck that.
Oh, okay.
When that. So yeah, all of you roll high enough, and yeah, it's not the most coherent of off-seeing, but all of you that perform, you feel this, except for Elefira, who isn't proficient. You feel this resonance between your performance, between your rituals, your song, your musics, and the ether in the area. And as you instinctively follow this mournful tune that Father Martin is playing, there's this ripple of energy, and you watch as these red motes of ether flash to this bluish-green light and begin to ascend. It's an intrinsically emotional experience for whatever emotion any of your characters might get out of it, of this connection with the dead that you have established and sending them along. As he finishes playing, and the rest of you finish as well, Martin hooks the flute on his belt and then turns to look at the group of you. And now, he says, gesturing with his staff, comes the second part of this particular ritual. He gestures down the hill, and you see, crawling out of the bushes and tree line, these figures that look almost like humanoids that weren't finished. They have faces that don't have features, glowing green eyes, this sort of shadowy blackness for skin, partially grown in white hair that seems to be lacking in pigment, and tattered clothes as they are move with a entirely aberrant understanding of physicality, rapidly move towards the bottom of the hill, making odd noises that they shouldn't be able to make for a lack of mouth, approaching the group. These monstrous shades are the creatures drawn to and formed by death. And just as we have sent the souls of the dead on, so too must we deal with these. Ready your weapons, children. The Dawnfather fights by your side. And we are going to shift you guys over to here. Go ahead and feel free to arrange yourselves in however you would like to be in that semicircle that you're in. And you can see below that there are a number of enemies. Some of you might be able to see below. There are a number of enemies down there. Just approaching beyond the light of the fire. It is heading towards dusk right now. It's not completely dark. You all should still be able to see them.
I don't. Where are they?
South.
Way down. They're at the bottom of the map.
Oh, there they are.
And we're going to go ahead and roll some initiative. And Jack, all three of your goblins will go on the same initiative, so just roll once.
That work?
You said the bodies look gored.
That
Oh.
work.
Yes, the bodies that are the bodies that are on the ground near you that aren't on the map. Yeah, they look like they were gored by boars.
Is that a common occurrence? Do we have particularly violent boars here on the
I
island?
mean, yeah, any boar can be a violent boar, but yes, it is not unheard of for people to be attacked by boars. It is less heard of for people to die, but that's mostly because the people that hunt the boars know what they're doing, and these guys very clearly didn't.
I feel like that's this week's T-shirt. Any boar can be a violent boar. You put your into it.
Any
I
boar.
mean, it several 100-pound mass of muscle and tusks. If you make it angry.
I'm not saying they're not dangerous. I'm just saying, are there usually piles of corpses?
There's only like 3 bodies.
Okay.
Would you move my initiative to the tracker?
Yes. Yeah. I'll run it off of Meanie Manny.
I don't know why Peas reminds me of Ringo.
It's there.
I mean, I could see it.
Where did
All right, we've got the goblins.
there's
We're
Noshka.
gonna get
I-
what feeling
I
good
couldn't-
goblins. We're gonna get out there.
I couldn't tell where Noshka was because Noshka was next to Peas, and my brain went, "Oh, that's Meanie Manny." All right. And Flop goes on Grouper's initiative. We've got Davina, got Elfair. All right, and I'm running them on. I'm gonna run. They're all gonna have their own initiative because that way they don't swarm you. Because they're not particularly dangerous, but in swarms, anything can be dangerous.
That sounds like a challenge to die.
You can die if you want to.
It's going to be very difficult for you to
Don't
die
leave your friends behind.
while Father Martin is with you.
Don't
But if-
give us a
but-
challenge.
That just means it's a challenge.
But yeah, that just means it's a challenge. You can do it if you so
I believe
desire.
in you.
You can indeed leave your friends behind.
All right, Davina.
I was
You-
trying to remember that line.
How far away are these things? Okay.
They are a bit of a distance away. Before you take your turn, Father Martin will just in his same tone. They're going to rush in mindlessly. The best practice here would be to form a stalwart defense and ready yourself to intercept their charge.
All right, Davina's just going to move over here, kind of in front of Flop a little bit, protecting him.
Protect the seal.
And she will pull out her sword
Nay.
and just ready herself.
That seal does that. That seal has a higher average damage than most of you right now. So, to be fair,
Doesn't matter. She's still protecting him. That's your buddy.
all right. Father Martin will step forward and he will begin chanting a prayer to the Dawn Father. As he does, this aura of gentle golden light will radiate out from him, engulfing all of you, and you feel this invigoration to your bodies, to your muscles, to your mind. You are all under the blessed condition, so you all get an extra D4 to attack rolls and saving throws.
Yeah.
As he will hold up that staff, this sort of like natural crystal, sort of wedged into the branches, into the upper branches of the staff, glowing with the sun's light. As the dusk begins to brighten a little bit, and he puts the staff down and continues to chant. The good goblins.
Mind you, rolling all of them individually didn't stop most of them moving in large clumps.
It's true.
Meanie Manny is going to pull. He's got a cloth bundle tied to his belt, and he's going to pull out of that. It looks like a black hand with like black, the color, with bits that are glowing blue, almost like circuitry. It's a fair bit bigger than his, but he sticks his left hand into it, and pulls out his training sword with his right hand. Peas is going to circle around into the grass, tall grass. Is that what this is?
It's just it's just grass that's less even, less trodden upon. It's just grass that is less evenly trodden upon. It's a grassy hilltop. None of it's particularly tall.
Oh,
It's just
Okay.
less flat.
right. Then, nah, he'll just stay where he is. He's good. Peas is good.
Yeah. Any held actions, by the way, from either Davina or any of the good goblins?
Meanie Manny's going to prepare to punch a dude, punch a monster, and Peas has his dagger out.
Okay. Holly, did Davina prepare an action for anything?
She's just prepared to swing whenever one comes near her.
Okay. We get into the monstrous shades. This one. They move with an unnatural gait, but they don't move particularly fast. 5, 10, 15. 5, 10,
Like a
15.
plastic one?
GAIT.
I know.
They're all carrying the gate with them, but it's not white picket; it's purple picket. That makes it unnatural.
They move like you know how newborn foals kind of like have an understanding of how to move, but not a working theory on it.
Mhm.
They kind of move like that, like creatures that aren't familiar with their own body, scrabbling around on two legs, occasionally using an arm as they sort of like scrabble sideways up this hill towards you. And you all get the same sense though. There's not necessarily an intelligence behind these creatures, but there is a ravenous hunger. Nashka.
She sort of looks across at everything coming down. Right. Well, and she sort of takes a kneeling stance for a second. Sets the wood cutting axe on the ground next to her, and sort of like levels the training crossbow that she was given by her mother, and just fires a shot down the way at the first of the oncoming creatures.
Right. So, is it inside the short range or in your long range?
Training crossbow is 3120, so it is going to be long range.
Right. So yeah, go ahead and with disadvantage, but you do have bless.
Same roll.
19 and 19. All right. Yeah, that'll hit. Which one were you aiming at?
The one on the left.
Okay. Yeah. You don't need to roll damage. It has 1 hit point. That training crossbow hits it, and there is just this puff of energy as the body just sort of falls apart, leaning forward and hitting the ground, completely blackening, and bits of it just vaporizing as the ether that forms it fades away.
Keep focused, keep steady. And you can sort of tell anyone who listens to Najka speak can sort of tell which phrases she learned from which parent, because her Craghammer accent comes and goes based on what she's saying.
That's a really good shot. Now, let's go. Way to go.
Grouper.
Grouper will pick up a stone, and turn. It will sort of hold a hand back, giving the stay gesture to flop, and we'll say, "All right, don't worry, babe, I got this." And to Ella, and I'm going to try to hit one with a sling. Yep, that's 7.
Disadvantage, so roll again, just gets a nat 1.
Okay, cool.
You're fine. A 7 will still hit, though. So you hit the one right
They're
here.
not hard to hit.
No, these are monstrous shades. They're not particularly dangerous. Was that one you were aiming at?
Yeah, the closest one, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That stone whips it, cracks across, and strikes into it, and similarly falls over backwards, the energy making it up, dissipating. All right. More of them go. 1, 2, 3.
Grouper will take a step forward, I think.
The next ones, as they begin to fall, you notice that the remaining ones seem to begin moving with yet an even more erratic gait as they scrabble up towards you. It seems that the thought of pain, rather than being a deterrent, seems to be an incentive to these kinds of creatures.
They're drawn to combat.
Elefera.
All right.
If you want to die, you better charge ahead because they fall fast.
Ella is going to just, I think, just move up a little bit, about there and will hold an action because I don't have any missile weapons.
All right. More of them go.
What weapons does she have?
Her rapier, which is the rapier that she picked up, which is out, and the ever present nail file is not out, but I mean Grouper would definitely know it's always nearby.
He just as she goes forward and goes into like a fencing posture. You go, good form, babe. He's like
Right.
waggling his fish eyebrows.
Awesome.
The remaining ones seem to have clustered at the bottom of the hill. Based on their speed, you imagine they'll probably be in melee distance next round. Davina.
Okay, sorry, I can't go for Kermit the Frog. Hitting on Jeremy's character.
I mean, I'm with Sen. I just keep hearing Meatloaf from or Meatwad from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that.
You're missing
character.
absolutely nothing
Absolutely
by not
nothing.
being
Yeah.
familiar.
You are
Oh,
with
missing
it.
okay.
nothing.
It is a
Not
fucking
good.
awful cartoon.
Um,
That's it. I do hear it.
she is waiting for them to get closer at this point.
Okay.
She's gonna move forward a little bit. She'll move up to here, but beyond that, she's just waiting.
Alright. Father Martin's going to continue focusing on his bless. Meanie Manny. I think they are in range for one.
Oh, they're
aspect.
all in range. I
Yeah.
checked.
Yep.
And since they are all in range, I'm going to target the farthest one from
Okay.
us. Just get it out of the way because I'm capable of it. And I don't have disadvantage because it's in short range.
Correct. Yeah, if it's within your short range, then you use a flat roll.
Hey,
So yeah, the glowing blue nodes, one on the palm specifically, crackles with electricity as Meanie Manny holds the gloved hand out, and it looks almost like a bolt of lightning connecting Meanie
Probably
Manny's
like this.
palm to the far creature in an instant flash. That just strikes out. This lightning striking the creature on the far end and forcing it to dissipate into ether.
I kind of wish instead of a glove, you were just holding an entire severed robot arm like it was a rifle. Just like,
Um,
Have any of us seen that before?
Pease is going to. Oh, wait! You live at the orphanage, right?
Yeah.
If you live at the orphanage, you've probably seen it, but it doesn't come out often. It's mostly something that's kept somewhere safe in their room.
Do you think Grouper would have seen it fired before?
No.
Okay.
Anyone who wants to, though, seeing this can make either a Arcana or a History roll.
even if we're not proficient.
Yeah, even if you're not proficient.
Sorry, what?
Seeing
Arcana or history.
upon seeing Meanie Manny unleash this bolt of lightning from this seemingly mechanical glove, can make it either an Arcana or a History check.
Not with a 5.
Also not with 4.
So
18. I don't know how to turn off guidance. I'll do it some other time.
If you scroll all the way down to where your tools are, the global skill modifier is under your tools.
You might need to show those modifiers because they are default hidden.
Oh right, yeah. If you don't have global skill modifier shown, you might have to go
Yeah.
show global skill modifier.
Like I said, I'll worry about it later. Just ignore it. I'm not trying to magically squeeze in guidance at level 0.
the thing is, global skill modifier is shown, and it's not there on the character sheet.
We can fix it later.
Yeah, we'll fix it later.
Yeah.
We'll ignore it for now. But yeah, so
Um.
with an 18 history and 18 arcana, Davina, you having seen it fired now, you recognize that gauntlet, that glove, seems to be from an aormaton, which you know to be I forgot to hide Dragon's thing. Which you know to be a
person, a mechanical being.
Yeah, a mechanical being that used to be that predate the calamity. That beings of high technology and magic from before the fall of the flying cities.
Which would make it a hand, not a glove.
Correct. To make it a hand, not a glove. Grouper, same thing. Yeah, like this is. You've never seen one before. But yeah, you recognize that as basically Meanie Manny is wearing the hand of a dead robot. And using it to fire lightning blasts.
But Grouper knew that Meanie Manny was messing around with it. Just not that it could do this.
Meanie Manny treats it with reverence.
Okay.
Messing around is not the tone.
Yeah.
That they treat this thing in.
You wouldn't have known that it was. You wouldn't have put together that it was an aormaton arm until just now, until seeing it do that.
Oh, that was amazing! I can't believe you did that.
Meanie Manny just grunts. Peas still has the training dagger ready.
Okay.
It is the good goblin's sacred treasure.
Grouper quietly says to Ella, "Aristotle is just an old piece of junk."
All right.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Najka.
Najka will sort of step a little further forward to make herself the easiest and primary target, as
Good luck with that.
As was her father's tradition of, you're the tough one, get in front when people are in danger. And is just going to level the crossbow and fire at the closest one.
Did I take out one of the things?
Yeah, you blasted one away.
So it's been taken off?
Yes.
Okay.
Plan.
That'll hit. Which one are you aiming at?
The one that's closest. This
That
one.
one? Okay. Yeah, another one falls. Grouper.
Step 10 feet forward, so the closest one is in regular range of my sling. And scooping another stone off the ground as he walks forward. Wait for the character sheet to load back in because it disappeared on me. There we are.
An 8 will hit.
Hey! Slightly better.
One down. All right.
Have we ever done combat training with Father Martin before?
Yes, you have. This
Okay.
is not new. You're not all necessarily good at it yet, but you are all familiar with it. One of the shades rushes forward and gets to within about 10 feet of Grouper, and you watch as these oddly twisting and gyrating limbs just suddenly distend to a much greater reach than you think they should have as it swipes a hand towards Grouper. Does a 12 hit you?
I didn't grab a shield, so yes, my AC is 12. If I had grabbed a shield, no.
So yeah, you feel this hand just strike into you hard. It doesn't feel like flesh when it hits you. It feels more like just you being a aquatic creature, you are familiar with the concept of pistol shrimp. It kind of feels like you're getting hit by a blast from one of them. You take 2 bludgeoning damage.
Oh, I just got pistol shrimped in my gibbles.
Najka, one runs up to you and similarly, a 19 hits you for 2 more damage. Just,
Decidedly.
just struck across the face as this arm extends beyond what it looks like it should be able to and strikes you.
Yep.
Elefera.
All right, so I am moving forward. Yeah, wisdom of 8. She actually moves directly in front. Hey, back off! I'm a stab.
Oh.
We have bless, correct?
Yes, you have an extra d4 to the attack roll.
19
Go ahead.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
no. You,
for 10 piercing damage.
very good. Yeah, this one falls to pieces around your blade. You stab into it. Being the first one to actually get a melee strike on it, it's an odd sense of resistance as you punch into it with a rapier. It doesn't feel like it's not as resistant as you would expect it to be. It feels almost like they're not fully formed as you stab into it and it dissipates.
Okay.
All right.
Dope.
No, anything else on your turn?
I'm actually going to move another 15 feet.
Okay.
Rupert looks over his shoulder at Davina and still wincing a little bit because, isn't she something?
No, Divino, not excitedly.
Oh, he turns back around.
Yay! Everything's going according to plan.
Yeah, he turns
It's
back
fine,
around
it's
and
fine.
blanches a little bit and goes, hey, babe,
Can't talk on.
John. So
Awesome.
the remaining 5, having been given a target that presented itself very admirably.
Yep. In fairness, I probably have one of the better armor classes in among all of them.
What is
Oh,
your
yeah.
AC?
14.
None
None of us are wearing any actual armor.
None of
No.
them are flanking you, but a barrage.
But
of,
I have a high dex.
But a barrage of aberrant fists come flying at you.
Yep.
A 7 misses. A 22 hits. A 12
Correct.
misses. A
Correct.
16 hits.
Yep.
And a 10 misses. So you only take 4 points of bludgeoning damage.
I'm fine.
As you duck and weave and dodge, but 2 of those just oddly curving and wiggling punches manage to land. Davina.
Okay, Davina will look at Grouper and say, "It's okay, I'll help her," and rush forward.
I got them all into one spot for us. First melee
How
fighters.
convenient, yes.
You're the best, Davina.
What am I rolling to attack?
So it'll just be
The monsters.
if you're. Did you
Hopefully.
add a training weapon to your inventory to your sheet?
That would have been so smart of me, wouldn't it? I'm sorry, I
It's all right.
forgot to.
What kind of weapon did you grab?
Sword.
Okay, so it will be. I'll add that to you real quick. Are you wielding it with 1 or 2 hands right now?
2 hands.
Okay, so. So 1d6 bludgeoning.
Sorry.
And not proficient. Because you're not proficient in. All right. So yeah, there's your training sword. Go ahead and roll attack.
Yeah.
16 will hit. Yeah, the one right there.
Yes.
Yeah, you strike it. And it collapses. Anything else in your turn?
She's gonna move forward just one.
All right.
Yeah.
Ella just says, "Nice of you to join me."
You shouldn't be out here alone.
I'm not. You're here.
5, 10. Father Martin strides forward.
In fairness, you showed up like a second after I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Father Martin strides forward, holding his staff aloft as it glows with light. And he is going to cast. He's only ranged heal is Mass Cure Wounds, so he's going to do that.
Doesn't even have healing word. Jeez.
No, he does not have healing word. He's NPC priests do not have a full kit like player character
fair.
clerics do.
Fair.
So he fully heals Najka, Grouper, and Elefira. As you feel the warmth of that light flowing out from his staff and covering you, you feel any bruises or wounds that you already had knitting closed and vanishing in that warmth.
Thanks, Father Martin. That feels good. Thank you.
Meany Manny and the good goblins.
Right. Meanie Manny, in this system we only take attacks of opportunity when we leave something's range, right?
Correct.
Okay, good. Meanie Manny is going to come down here, which is still in range because they have reach.
Yes.
Okay, so no attacks of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna say, don't worry about it, because you're all here. Nobody's alone. Why would you worry about that? And we're going to punch the one directly in front of him. Why is the character sheet so small? Why are you doing this to me?
With the automaton fist?
Yup.
That will hit.
Um,
Jams a fist into it. As a reminder, when you make an attack with Meanie Manny, one of your others can make a bonus action attack as well.
I know. I'm gonna do that.
Yep.
Does that take the one out?
Yeah. Oh no. They all only have 1 hit point.
Okay. So Peas and Gesby are gonna share a look that seems to communicate something between them. And Peas is gonna come down here and get advantage from flanking.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
While he stabs that one with his training dagger.
That'll hit, and that one will go away. All right, only 3 left. Najka.
Yeah. After the recoil from the strike that hits her, she sort of leans back and grabs the haft of the forge maul and sort of slings it up over her shoulder and starts to step forward as she brings it up under and at this thing in front of her as she steps into it. The 22 to hit it.
That definitely hits. It's gone.
And as she keeps going forward, the hammer sort of flares up for a second as she keeps stepping forward. And presumably in response to something the hammer is saying, she's, yes, I know, keep going. And she steps forward, and uses her bonus action to expend one of the hammer's charges to take a second swing at the one between her and Davina.
With advantage. That hits. And yeah, that's another one down. Only one left. Grouper.
Everybody, y'all doing so great. It's just like Cavala always says, many hands make light work. All right, let's see what we can do. And move forward to here. And as he does so, we'll try to toss another one. Flop is going to run up behind Davina also. Using the dash action.
Mm-hmm.
It's being super slow. I don't know why it keeps doing this to me.
7 hits. And that's the last one. So, as the last of these shades gets struck with a stone and falls, it dissipates into this dark ether, and you all turn and just sort of look, and you see those motes of green and blue light that have been rising to the sky finally begin to dissipate fully, and they vanish with the last of these creatures. And as a stillness falls over the hill, Father Martin turns back to look at the brazier, holds his free hand up to his chest, and looks to the sky. And so, as these creatures return to their mother of monsters, so do the souls of the departed go to their hereafter. I'm very proud of you all. You've done well today. And as we end combat, that's where we're going to go take our break. So, those of you that are watching, please stay tuned for these commercial messages. And remember, when we take our break, you take yours. So stand up, stretch your legs, move around, do whatever you need to do. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. And we're back. A dinosaur story. As the departed ether rises into the sky, and Father Martin expresses his pride in the group of you at both assisting in putting the dead to rest and in putting down the monsters that were spawned from them. He begins to put out the ritual incense brazier and pack his things up. Is anyone doing anything while he's packing the site up?
Pease is helping.
Mhm.
I immediately turn around to group. Are you okay, baby?
Yeah,
So you got hit.
No. It's all good. You did amazing. Come here.
Oh, thank you. So did you.
He's like reaching
Yep.
up.
Yep.
Yep.
Father.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
As I say, Najka just kind of like takes a minute, like holds the hammer like up in front of her and mutters a prayer in Dwarven, and then like afterwards, no, there's not an accent on that. You speak such an ancient dialect. You fucking, and puts the hammer up. Don't fucking nitpick the way I pray.
Gatsby and Meanie Manny are checking to make sure they're both okay.
Davina will walk over to, what was it, Meanie Manny that had the hand?
Yes.
The glove,
The
yes.
hand
Yeah,
glove.
yeah,
The
hand
hand.
glove, yeah. Yeah, she'll walk over.
One approach the one with the hand.
Can I look at that? I swear I'm not going to take it. I just wanted to look.
He gives you a look, but he takes it off and holds it up. Because you're tall, right?
She's 5 foot. She's like not super tall.
That's tall when you're not 4 feet.
Yeah. But yeah, she's just gonna take a minute and examine it.
Yep. Anything in particular you're trying to glean from it, or?
Just figure out more about it in general and where the power comes from.
Give me an investigation roll.
14.
So it's on the back of. So the gauntlet has this it has a couple of different specific features. One of it is that on the back of the gauntlet there are these 3 sort of nodes of what seem like an odd metal with a spike extending out of it that seems to just passively generate electricity, or maybe gather it, depending on how you're looking at it. And that seems to be the principal power source for the weapon of the gauntlet itself. You're not certain how it works. This is ancient technology. This is ancient magic technology, that has not been of a kind that hasn't been recreated since the calamity. So you're not certain what you would need to do to figure out how it works in specific, but you can tell that these sort of like electricity gathering nodules on the back of the bracer part of it is at least where the power is being drawn from.
She'll look at them. Where did you get this from?
We've had it for a long time.
It's really awesome. She'll hand it back.
He looks it over, checks it to make sure everything is the way it was before the fight began, and then ties it back into the pouch at his belt.
As ever, it is oddly pristine. Father Martin will, as he's packing it up, Najka, could you prepare the traders' bodies in a pyre?
Of course.
Thank
and
you.
she'll walk over, pick up the woodcutter's axe, go take a tree down, and start building a pyre.
Yep.
For the bodies.
Yep, easily enough.
You really ought to tell that Dex just to shut up at some point.
Is that to me?
Yes. No, it was the other person with the talking axe.
The hammer.
Yeah.
Hammer, sorry.
He doesn't listen to me. He just rants.
You hear out loud something in. Do any of you speak Dwarvish other than Najka?
I don't believe that I do. No.
You all hear something directed at Elafira in unintelligible Dwarven gibberish. Najka, you get hard to translate, but you're pretty certain that was either an insult to Elafira's lineage or an epithet against Elafira's gods. One of the two.
Which she doesn't address. She
Gerber,
goes,
with a nat 20 insight, you still can't quite tell. It was definitely an insult of some kind.
Yeah, I was just going for tone.
Yeah.
it was like she doesn't address what was said at all. She's like, you see what I mean?
There's just Ella is assuming, and so there's a middle finger thrown up to the expert or hammer, which looks like it's to Nashka, but it's clearly to the hammer.
Yeah.
Context.
So my earlier question is, does Ella lean down to kiss Grouper, or does Ella pick up Grouper?
I think lean down.
Okay, all right. So yeah, okay. So I just want to know if I was still in it. Like,
Sorry, I missed that
by
in the
Ella,
chat.
but- okay. I just didn't want to interrupt people, but so yeah, at the same time Ella is flipping off the hammer, Grouper just has both webbed hands out. He goes, whoa. Now, to be fair, I didn't understand that, but I didn't appreciate the tone. And I really think we all just need to calm down. Najka, I'm not blaming you. We all have relatives that we're not particularly pleased with, just like my parents, who are definitely coming back eventually someday.
They totally are.
Just, there's a lot of things under the ocean. Anyway, but just, it even though it's not your fault, because it is a relative of yours, it does kind of fall on you to step up and intercede in some really outmoded methods of address. I don't know exactly what was said, but if I were a gambling fish, I would make a bet that it was kind of a little bit racist.
I don't know if it was necessarily racist. I think it was a bit too targeted. But
This is Najka trying to say, I'm not 100% certain what he said myself.
it's like no. See, racism would be like general bigotry. This was like very specific to this one person.
I mean,
I don't know that makes it better.
I don't know that it does either.
Liz, the important thing is, I think everybody did a really amazing job.
Man, 2 campaigns in a row we got Lewis.
Gesby is going to. Where is Hammer right now?
Hey, it's my first D&D character with a positive intelligence and charisma.
It's like the Goban is like slung back onto the sling on Najka's back.
I'm trying to decide if Gesby could reach the hammer on her tiptoes.
Najka's too tall.
You might be able to reach the butt of the hammer, but not the head. The head is like up by her head.
I'll go with the, well, obviously not the head. I'll go with yes, so that Gesby can just tiptoes and pat the butt of the hammer and said, "You did a good job too, even if you're mean."
It looks almost like you're trying to pat Najka's butt, but you managed to get to the hammer instead.
She knows what she's doing. She expects everybody else to take her for what she meant.
Najka does.
She also says that in a very matronly tone of voice, like I'm giving you a compliment in the hopes that you will appreciate it enough to stop being an asshole.
All right.
I mean, yeah, nobody's saying that the hammer didn't do a good job. I'm just saying, my parents have always said, if you have an intelligent weapon, you kind of have to establish who's in control there.
It's about a dozen crotchety old men who are several hundred years old each, all amalgamated into one spirit. They're stuck in their ways times 12.
Well, maybe if they'd been a little bit better, they wouldn't be stuck in the hammer now, would they?
Fair point. Fair point. Um,
That sounds like a them problem.
Martin is perfectly happy to not touch on the subject at all and just let y'all have this conversation.
The entire time, Nashka is like chopping wood and shaping it into planks and like stacking them on top of each other.
Once the pyres are set and the bodies are set up, Martin will ask Najka to light the pyre, and he will explain. Once the spirits have been sent along, the ether has been dispersed. Returning the body to flame, or however it would prefer to be interred, is simply a courtesy.
Nashka sort of lifts the hammer back off the sling, slams the butt into the ground. The hammer flares up. Sparks start to drift off of it, and she sort of presses the end of the hammer into the pyre to light it.
Father Martin, I noticed the ether didn't really disperse, or the spirits didn't disperse into the ether until we took care of the. Do we know a term for the walking things?
He referred to them as monstrous shades.
Okay. Until the shades were gone, are they tied directly, or do they prohibit it being dispersed until they're taken out, or is it just convenient timing?
Convenient timing. It simply takes a while for the ether to disperse once it's been sent along. Once these creatures have been formed from the energies of death, they will persist until they themselves are destroyed.
So we can't disperse them.
They can be
once they're formed.
Only through violence, unfortunately. They are creatures of hunger and malice, crafted by the mother of monsters. They exist to cause pain, and they find pleasure in both giving and receiving pain. When they are destroyed, they return to the mother of monsters until she creates more from the energies of death elsewhere.
Does she have a finite amount? I mean, could we just get a big old crater and collect them all in there or something?
Theoretically, the limit to her ability to create her monsters is limited by the humanoids of our world's ability to kill each other.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know of any craters that big.
If we could figure out...
That was such a smart question, though.
Thanks, bud.
Valid insight, but yes, if we could convince the peoples of the world to lay down their weapons and not harm each other anymore, then she would not be able to create more.
Now, so does that mean they can only form from bodies that have been killed through violence?
No, unfortunately. Our world is not that kind.
The continued employment of adventurers indicates that it's not going away anytime soon.
I mean, yeah, it is important to the adventure industry. So,
what is Ella's intention? I know she's planning to leave, but like, what is she planning to do? Is that something she's discussed? Is it adventurer related?
She's definitely planning to leave and go do some kind of schooling. She hasn't been specific on what yet.
Okay.
Get her
So
post-secondary degree.
Yes, yes, exactly.
So
higher education.
So I mean, so there could be more of these right here on the island. So technically, there's a lot for adventures to do right here without having to leave the island.
Actually, the Tuarin jungle, is it forbidden because there's more stuff like this there?
No, not specifically, no. These are only spawned from the deaths of humanoids. To a large degree. There are some animals who are powerful enough that their ether will linger and need to be sent on, but largely humanoids and larger creatures. The Twanian jungle is forbidden because the creatures that call it home are deadly and territorial.
But natural otherwise.
As far as we are aware. The north and south walls over the cleft repel assaults from territorial creatures seeking to expand out of the jungle daily.
I mean, there's a lot here, but there's a lot more, and it's a bigger problem out there.
Well, I know, but there's a lot going on. You could start here at community adventuring, and then in a couple of years.
Well,
God damn it, Craig!
Future plans aside, let us return to scripts.
Fucking community adventure.
That was. I mean, that's what the what was the fortress of
the fortress in
Grand Terra. Yeah, that's what the fortress of Badassery or whatever it was. That was functionally community adventuring college.
It was.
We're gonna throw you into it. We're gonna push you through Sen's fortress, and if you come out alive, you graduate.
Yeah, but that's the rapid course. That's like accelerated studies.
Yeah. Right, but
I know you said you were done talking about this, but I just just a new thought. That's all.
I've already thought about that.
Okay.
But the bodies are reduced to ash. You all are familiar on Tuatakala, outside of Iorna, which is where all the farming communities are. Most of the time, you burn your dead. It has to do with the fact that the land here is not great for digging. It gets very dense very quickly when you start to dig down. There are some areas in, like I said, in the Iorna, further into the Dilcare Plains, that they've managed to cultivate farmland. But most of the island is very hard to dig down into, so we just burn our dead instead.
Also, it's on an angle, so if the earth ever gets upset, you just have like decaying bodies rolling downhill towards town.
That's also part of it, yes.
Is that just because it's rocky, or is there something else going on down there?
It's very thick clay and rocky, absolutely. Okay. Make a nature check, Grouper. Yeah. You specifically.
18.
With an 18, you've heard Carvalis talk about the island occasionally, and how something unnatural sleeps beneath the land here, is what she's referred to it as, which is what she attributes to what makes it difficult to work the land.
Do I take from that she means that people who try to work the land are digging into the body of whatever sleeps down there, or is it more metaphorical?
No, you're not certain if she's more metaphorical or not, but she's never had disdain for anybody trying. She has vocalized that as a reason why it has been fruitless.
Okay.
This is where the Tarask sleeps.
Or the armadillo.
It looks more like a stingray to me, but...
I mean, yeah, if you take the whole island in profile, yeah.
But yeah, you the pyre finishes out and extinguishing the fire, because only you can prevent forest fires.
Fun story. The guy, the voice actor for Smokey the Bear was an arsonist.
I love that. I love that.
Was he doing that as community service or?
No. It was one of those. I don't remember the specific details of this, but it was one of those situations where he was, voice actor, did the thing, and then later they found out that he had committed a at least like a number of fires.
That may be legitimately the first time anybody said, "Hey, fun story," and told an actual fun story.
I have to look it up to make sure that I'm not lying to myself.
But the group of you return to the Skull River and then down to Skrios. The rest of the
Babe, you
day.
wanna swim back?
Oh, what was that?
I just said, babe, you want to swim back?
Of course.
Be sure to finish up your chores at the temple, and then you're free for the rest of your day, he says to the two that are swimming back.
Got it, Father Martin.
They dive in. Group returns underwater as soon as she splashes down. My God, it feels so good to be back in the water.
Oh my fucking god!
You did fantastic out there, babe.
Sorry, I'm trying to react. Holy shit, Craig!
I swear to God, when I saw you standing up
Now I
there,
remember.
pointed sword at the enemy, it was all I could do to restrain myself.
Meet Wad above, Zap Brannigan below.
Oh my God!
Ah,
I'm dapping out.
We move on.
Please. Holy shit.
just voiced by Billy West underwater.
I don't even know what to do with this information.
You get back. You all get back to Skrios. You finish your chores for the day. At the end of the day, Father Martin presents the three of you with what is functionally a diploma, but really it's just sort of a "Hey, you did a good job" certificate. And he will. It's very ceremonial, pat on the back, pray to the gods. You've done great. Good luck in your future. As for the rest of the summer is yours. Feel free to have whatever adventures you would like before the fall comes and the ships that typically children of your age take to their fame and fortune come. If you need me, I'll be here at the temple. May the Dawn Father watch over you.
You were muted for that line, Craig.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Grouper said, "Thanks, Father Martin, for everything."
It has been my greatest honor and pleasure, he says, patting you on the shoulder.
I mean, I'll be around, so if you need help.
Certainly. All right. So we don't need to get into the minutia of the end of the day, but your summer vacation is upon you. You have functionally 2 months before the ships that the ships that come in the fall with the turn of the season arrive, and those are typically the ships, sort of traditionally, the ships that people take when they're heading off the island to go seek their fame and fortune. With your newfound freedom from school and classes and chores, the group of you, I assume, the group of you you've been students together for most of your life. You've known each other for years. Literally you are a group of childhood friends. So what would you like to do with the last 2 months that some of you are here?
I feel like Najka has generally been sort of the steady, if slightly aloof person in the group, and that sort of reflects in she will join anyone on any adventures that they would like her presence on. But the majority of her last 2 months on the island are spent performing her own final exam, as so to speak, which is with her father's guidance, she is making the suit of armor that she will be wearing at level 1.
So,
Um,
we'll get that in a second. Yeah, go ahead, Jack.
are you responding to that?
I am, but I can respond to it after you to go.
Oh, Gesby is the social butterfly, so she's going to make sure that everybody makes time to hang out and spend time together before the ships come.
So, Najka, your father, as you're preparing your blueprints and getting this ready, will standing off to one side, slightly adjusting his singed mustache. Right, so Najka, there's a bit of ceremony involved in this particular armor, and part of that ceremony is going to be gathering your own materials. We're not going to use any of the stock from the forge. It has to be something you find and work yourself. Now,
All right.
I am allowed to give you a little bit of a head start, at least a place where you could find the materials. You could go foraging around the Ferosh Mountains. There's not a lot of mineral deposits there. It's relatively barren as far as mountain ranges go. But you might find something of use. Or you could ask for a permit to venture into the jungle, where there's lots of rare materials along that river. Particularly the closer you get to Ardiglass, the more and the rarer materials you find. It's going to be up to you and your logic and deduction powers as to which is going to be worth your time more.
All right.
But I would say be grateful you don't have to go delving into a fucking volcano like I did. Because let me tell you, doesn't matter how flame resistant you might be, lava fucking hurts, okay?
I've heard the story of how you singed your beard a dozen times.
Singed my beard a dozen times, lost 3 toes too, he says, holding up his foot, where you wear it's covered in a boot, but he's got like 3 prosthetic toes on his left foot.
Yeah.
The beard's nothing, the toes are what fucking hurt.
All right. Well, I'll see if my mates are willing to follow me into the jungle then.
If you're looking for a pass, Carvala can probably help you out, or you could go talk to the mayor and maybe get something from him.
I'll probably want something temporary to wear because the jungle's a wee bit dangerous.
Oh, aye. We're not going to send you out like wee babs in a snow melt. No. I'll make sure you're outfitted. Don't worry.
All right. Guess I'll go talk to Carvala.
Meanwhile, Davina, you want to talk to Gruber?
Yeah, just at some point.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he's easy to find unless it's during one of the times where, at least from his perspective, at least he's pretending that this isn't the last summer,
Right.
that they have, and where he and Ella are often dates, which is in the high school style of date, which is basically they're just finding secluded areas to be ridiculous together. But otherwise he does have a quote unquote day job at the docks, so he's pretty easy to find.
Yeah, she'll walk up to him at some point or swim up probably.
Yeah. He's out. I don't know. I mean, I know he does inspections. Would he also be like cleaning barnacles off some ships
Oh
in
yeah,
port.
absolutely, yeah. Like barnacles off ship's part, barnacles off the dock. Like
Yeah.
there are always barnacles that need to be peeled off.
She'll swim up. She'll like give him a little splash.
He pops up above. No, she doesn't speak. We talked about this off stream, but she doesn't speak Aquan, right? She speaks
No.
Sylvan and okay.
She speaks Sylvan.
You speak primordial, don't you?
Primordial, yeah.
Which
Oh,
primordial
you do
includes
speak
Aquan, yeah.
Oh, then yes.
Okay, cool.
I was able to take another language.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right.
Yeah.
So then they would be speaking underwater, right? She has a swim speed. She can be underwater, right?
Your
Yeah.
turn.
Oh my God, keep it straight, guys. Yeah.
Oh, Davina, how are you doing? That was really something up there on the hills the other day, wasn't it?
Oh, you're killing me.
Flop,
Right?
I've told you, darling. Come back down from there. Oh, Flop, so silly. Always eating things.
God, who's the voice of Metro Man from Megamind?
Sorry. How-
Okay, it is Brad Pitt doing Metro Man. Cool. Doing Brad Pitt doing his best Elvis Presley.
You're putting on a good face, but I wanted to know how you were doing.
What do you mean?
She just gives him this look that for her means cut the crap.
It's just, it's been so easy for so long as we had school, we had adventures, we had lessons to do.
Have you ever?
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
I guess I just kept telling myself she'd change her mind.
You ever thought of going with her?
He sort of turns around and is like scrubbing a little harder than usual on the keel of the boat, and not looking back says, "Sure, who hasn't thought about going out for a life of adventure? We're here among all these grand adventurers from former days, but what if I'm gone when my parents come back to me?"
I'm sure you could figure something out. Maybe someone here could notify you. And you can always come back to visit.
They're doing important work. They're looking for things. I want to be here to get going as soon as they come back.
But what if they never come back? And you spend your life waiting?
Well, I'm sure it won't come to that, but what's one more season, right? I mean, I can stay here. I can set a little bit aside for things, and when Ella comes back from her first semester adventuring abroad, I'll have things laid by. We can have a time. Besides, what are you gonna do without flopping me?
I'll only be here for one more year.
Well, I know, but besides, Flop would miss you too much. How are you doing? I'm not the only one being left. I'm not the only one who's watching friends head off.
I'm okay. Like I said, it'll be me in a year.
He sort of stops for a second and then goes back to working. Sure. Well, you know what? Maybe after all of us and You and the good goblins and are all ready to head out. Well, maybe that'll be my sign. I've waited long enough.
Maybe.
What is Davina's family situation?
So Davina has parents on the island, but she's adopted.
Okay.
And she doesn't remember. She was adopted when she was like, they found her when she was a toddler.
Okay.
So she doesn't remember anything of where she came from.
Would your friends know that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What are your parents' names?
Hold on, I wrote them down. I put them in a thing.
Well, what is your family name? Because Grouper is definitely the type who, that's all I need.
I believe I had it. Oh, I didn't write it here. Windward.
And what ancestry are they?
Half elf and human.
Also, what's Mr. Winwood up for the summer months? Plenty to do, I'm sure.
Sorry, to be honest, I love the entire parent. So
that's okay. He's I mean, we don't have to go into the detail. He's
cool.
very okay. First off, I just want to establish that Grouper is the type who refers to his friends' parents by their last names always. And second of all, he's very clearly trying to change the subject.
Mm-hmm. She'll make small talk with him for a while.
Okay.
But before she leaves, she will say, "Don't stay here because you're afraid. You're gonna miss out on a lot if you do." And she'll just swim off after that.
Yeah, he sort of opens his mouth, closes it, opens it again, closes it, and then doesn't watch her leave.
Anyone else have anything they want to do before Najka heads to talk to Carvala?
I think Ella is mostly outside of obviously spending a lot of time with Grouper. Is just trying to do whatever ever she can to make the most out of this summer. Spending time with people just to hang out or go do things. Yeah.
Okay.
Just make the most of it. But nothing like super specific. Let's role play out our beach day.
Jack?
Basically the same thing as Gatsby.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
although I am kind of in love with it with the concept of a show where the beach episode is the first episode where you don't know any of the characters yet.
Right. So Najka, you go find Carvala. Carvala is mostly easy to find because she's talking to the mayor.
Mhm.
Mayor Baltazar is a turtle, but he's the biggest turtle you've ever seen. And most of the community is fairly well convinced he's actually a dragon turtle posing as a turtle.
Jesus Christ.
I will send.
Is he large sized or huge sized?
He is large sized.
I was going to say, that sounds like.
He is large sized. I will send you his token.
Okay, but picture just for a moment just a full-on, full-grown dragon turtle with a top hat and a monocle.
Let me grab this real
I'm
quick.
here to talk to you about the zoning.
I am like 95% sure that there is art of that somewhere.
There has to be.
So I put
It's
it
like
in
Mayor
Slack.
Tortimer, Animal Crossing, but as a
And I'll
Yeah,
show
that
it to you.
tracks.
And I'll show it to the audience too.
fantastic.
Yes, the giant snapping turtle.
Yeah, like it ridiculously large turtle. That has like glowing, like has like green, like sort of greenish golden glowing eyes. Really doesn't look like. And there are other turtles that live on the island. He does not look like any of them. Like this is the
Yeah.
this person is to turtle as Mega Shredder is to humans. Like.
He's the super shredder of turtles.
Yeah, the Super Shredder. That's right. Yeah.
What a wild, cold shot! Is that from the old live action films, or is there
Yes,
been
the one
Yes.
where they got
Kevin
wrestler,
Nash.
where they got Kevin Nash to play super
Kevin
shredder.
Nash was Super Shredder.
Yes. Yeah.
and Vanilla Ice
Yeah.
was in
Uh-huh.
it?
Yeah. Look, you don't want to know the depths of my brain.
I thank you for saying something, referencing something that for once did not make me feel old and out of touch.
Craig, I just saw your whisper. Yes, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, so yeah, you see Mayor Baltazar and Carvala. Again, Mayor Baltazar, you can see him from like half the town away.
Especially with the slope.
Yeah. And he's on the docks talking to Carvala, and the docks are creaking every time he moves.
Can Grouper just be underneath reinforcing them?
just actively going, okay, we need to get him off the docks.
Every time he comes down here.
As you approach, they both turn.
So Mayo, should you really be standing there?
I have every confidence in our dock builders and workers' ability to sustain.
Wooden plank snaps and falls into the water.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I got it.
Yeah. Young Flamehow, I understand that this is your last summer with us.
Aye, and it's also time for my final trial before being inducted as a craftsman.
I believe Thorben mentioned something of that nature to me recently. Something of proving yourself quest, if I recall correctly.
Aye, I'm to gather materials to forge my own armor to wear as a craftsman.
Mm-hmm. Worthy endeavor.
And it's actually why I've come here.
The spiky thing, the spiky ridges that serve his eyebrows raise as he looks at you inquisitively. What you take to be inquisitively, at least. Again, he's fucking massive.
Yeah, I understand there's not much in the way of worthwhile materials in the Ferosh Mountains, but I've also been informed that there is a wealth of useful material within the Tuaran jungle, but that I would need a pass to journey across.
Yes, we try to limit the amount of adventuring parties that head to the Tuarian jungle. Or Tuarian jungle. Your father thinks that you're capable of traversing that land to retrieve materials. We could take it under advisement. What is your plan currently?
Well, a number of my fellow companions have all finished our studies for the year and have time allocated to us. I was planning to see how many of them would be willing to join me and travel across, bringing enough equipment to mine and gather the weight of ore that I'd need to forge into armor. As quick of a trip as possible. Go in, gather ore, return.
Mm.
I was informed that following the path of the river would be ideal.
If you can gather an adventuring party, 5 strong at least, bring them to my office, and we'll see about getting you the access you need. 5 would be a dense enough number to assuage some of the more opportunistic predators in the jungle.
I should be able to pull that off.
Well then, thank you very much for your input, Carvala, he says, looking at the dock warden, who is, like, very carefully keeping an eye on the planks underneath him. I think I shall adjourn to my offices for the moment. And he raises a big armored hand to wave to the two of you, and Grouper, you watch the bend in the bend in the wood of the docks move as he begins to walk away.
I'm just paddling along underneath, trying to keep up.
Eventually, he steps off the docks and onto the ground proper.
Meanwhile, Gora like steps over to the edge of the docks and like leans over it. Oi, Grouper!
Yeah, I'm in.
You feel like going on an adventure?
No, I mean I'm already in. You come on. Nashka, you know you don't have to ask. I got your back.
All right. Just time to go find and ask the others then.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you could just say that this sounds like a really great, you know, this is an adventure in itself. An adventure right in our own backyard, but a pretty significant one of mythic proportions. You could just talk it up that way to everybody if you want.
I don't think I'll need to sell it that hard, but
You probably won't.
all right. I'll have to go find everyone else then.
Sure.
So,
Flop's in too. I don't know if the mayor would count Flop as one, but so you got 3 of us already,
Or the
including
mayor.
yourself.
So Najka approaches the rest of you. Is there any specific way you want to pitch it to them, Najka, or just asking directly?
Asking fairly directly. Do you want to come? Do you want to come on one more adventure? I have to go get materials.
You get four words into that. I'm in.
As soon as you mention it to the good goblins, Gesby says, "Of course, we're all coming. We'll go get everybody, and you just get a dispersal of goblins."
Yeah.
I like that as the collective noun.
Davina will very excitedly agree.
All right. So after a bit of time, the group of you meet at the mayor's office. The mayor's office is the sturdiest building in town.
I wonder why.
It has to be. And yeah, no, you get you inside. It would be funny if he wasn't so big, because all of you are familiar with the trope of large man, small desk.
Mm-hmm.
That is his office entire. Like, that is, everything in his office is like attempted to be scaled up, but was not scaled up enough.
Large man, small, yes.
Yes.
Who is it? Is it animated Kingpin that's just the entire screen?
Just
Yes.
square.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
That's what I'm
Kingpin and
picturing.
Enter the Spider-Verse, who is just like the entire screen, then his head in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Precisely that level of scaling. sitting there with a very delicately held quill between three of his claws, just scrolling in this very elegant, fine calligraphic hand. Just scrolling paperwork, writing on paperwork, filling out things. Ah, young Miss Flamehowl, I see you've gathered a party.
Indeed.
I
And are you all aware, as circumstances require me to verify, the destination of Miss Flamehowl's journey?
That she would have explained into the Twarian jungle to try and find ore to everyone.
Yeah, everybody's chill.
Or, based on what you've described to me, Nashka, I have a feeling that the North Wall would be your first port of call. The South Wall has access to the southern jungle, but doesn't run as close to the river. With that in mind, I have here, he says, holding up extremely delicately, a normal-sized scroll, which looks tiny in his hand. I have here permission for you to be delivered directly to Guard Captain Alexander of the North Wall.
Do we know this person?
Can we make a history check?
sure.
Because he's not, technically speaking, a Sklios native. So.
Hey.
18.
14.
It actually makes a lot of sense that Najko be aware of them, considering she works at the blacksmith that makes weapons and stuff.
13.
So, you all know that the North and South Wall are fortifications built across the Tuar Cleft. The
Right.
Tuar Cleft, because the island leverages up out of the ocean like it does, the Tuar Cleft is a massive, just sheer drop. No one knows why it's as sheer as it is, but it is just smooth rock on both sides that just drops straight into the ocean. And spanning it at 2 points where they could anchor most effectively are these massive fortress bridges, functionally, that each serve as fortification and city. Small city, but still city. That spans the cleft. Those of you that got a 15 or higher, so Najka, Elafira, and Davina, know or have heard of Guard Captain Alexander. You may not have met him directly, but Alexander is not originally from the island. He's actually he was asked to take up the job of captaining the North Wall by you're not sure who, someone, one of the adventurers that retired to Sklios, who at a time where they needed someone that had the proper sort of military guard training that is needed to run these sorts of facilities.
So it would be fair to assume neither of my parents nor Najka's then.
No.
So I feel like we'd know that.
Yeah, no, definitely not. None
Okay.
of your parents. But he's a well-respected, known to be honorable man, that has kept the North Wall safe for relatively safe, at least, ever since his stationing there. So, know of him. May not have met him directly, but you definitely know of him. You are instructed to be allowed through the North Wall, and given whatever support the guard captain can provide to aid you in your quest.
All right. Well, I guess it's off to the forge to get kitted for the journey then.
Making sure you're well equipped would be advisable. Good luck, and return safely.
Thanks, Mark.
That's the plan. Thank you very much.
They'll wave you off. At the forge, you can acquire basic materials, Torben will make it very clear these are loners. These are loners. They are meant to be returned, which means all of you have to return alive, or I'll haunt you in your afterlife.
What is Torben's family or clan or surname?
Flamesmith.
You got it, Mr. Flamesmith.
Well, while we're walking back to the forge, we're walking back as a group, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Is it okay if Grouper asks Nashka something as we're walking?
Yeah.
Nashka, this is sort of a whole family rite of passage kind of deal, right?
On my father's side, aye.
Is there anything? I mean, we got your back. We've been through a ton together, all of us, right?
He kind of looks around at the others.
Right.
Agreement.
Yeah. So, is there anything we ought to know ahead of time? I mean, is this a kind of deal where you have to be the one to find the ore, or just anything like that we should know before we go?
How much would manners dictate we stay out of your way?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
For the most part, it's just I need to harvest it and gather it.
Okay.
Finding it and protecting it as a group is absolutely. It's a test of my skill as a craftsman to handle my own work.
So we can beat up anything that needs beating up.
Yeah, anything that's a threat, we can work together on. It's just once we find the ore, I need to gather it and bring it back.
Awesome.
How much do you need? Are we talking, backpack worth? Are we talking hand cart worth? Should we be looking at pack animals?
I would know this, how much metal I'm gonna need.
It depends on what you find. He did say material, not metal.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you find. It could be something that, with the bodies you've got at your disposal, you should all be able to carry it enough in your various packs. For what you need.
Betwixt all of us, we should easily be able to carry everything we need.
Okay, if you're sure. I'm just saying, better to know we need it now than
I feel like any kind of cart. I mean, backpacks would probably be useful, but I feel like any kind of cart's gonna get stuck in the jungle.
Hey, that's all right. Backpacks it is. Does everybody have something they can bring, or do we need to pick one up before we go?
We've got an adventurer's
Nashka has the
backpack.
pack that she always carries for like firewood and stuff. So
I just have to go home and get it, but yeah.
Okay. I'm not carrying yours, babe.
No, I will carry my own. You can't carry both backpacks.
Okay.
You can carry mine.
I mean, maybe. That is if I'm not too busy crawling into Ellie's backpack.
Do what you want. It's all cool.
Now, to be clear, if let's say we get there and we get there to harvest this, to mine this stuff, and you're like something happens and you go into a coma, do we just say, "Well, I guess we're not getting it," and come back, or like is it an absolutely necessary thing that you be the person?
The point
Or is this like adventurer rules?
So the point,
which is,
imagine anything being so necessary that we should leave her in a coma in the jungle.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying.
So, Najka, you know that the purpose of this is so that you don't get help from other craftsmen. They can't provide you the materials, they can't provide you the skill, they can't provide you the labor. That's basically it. Anybody that harvests it is fine. It's just that you have to source the materials and harvest and get it harvested and everything.
Yeah. Basically, no one who's already in the craft is allowed to give me a helping hand. So
okay,
it has to be me and the group that I bring with me that are not already craftsmen.
So it's adventure guidelines. It's not like hard, fast. You did not pull this from the earth yourself, so
yeah, it
doesn't work.
As long as I'm not getting help from Da or any of the other craftsmen guilds on the island, then we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, none of us can craft shit.
I mean, you're not wrong. I got that. That is not where my skills lie.
No.
So you can get any
Your
equipment.
skills are in being fierce, babe.
From
Thank you.
Thorben in the Forge, you can get any equipment in the player's handbook, or in basic equipment in Valda's guide. So basic, not exotic equipment. For free, you're not having to pay for it. It will be given back at the end of the journey. And any weapons that you are given are considered magical for purposes of damage reduction. They're not.
Okay.
They don't have a bonus to the attack or damage, but they do overcome damage reduction from non-magical weapons.
So we have access to real weapons now.
Yes, you can get access to real weapons.
How
What about those of us who will have armor proficiencies but do not currently with our level 0 states?
We still don't have
So
those?
you're going to be given some basic armor, which I will detail after the stream for you. It's not going to be as good as full plate and things like that, but you will be given some armor that you can use.
how humid / wet is the jungle? And realistically, I'm assuming I probably should not bring flop.
Um,
We're going to be going along the river according to the plan.
yeah, you're going to be
Oh,
alongside a
plan.
river the whole time.
Okay.
You're
All right.
not sure how humid it is. You've never been there, honestly.
Well, as long as we're following the river, then that seems okay.
Once everyone is kitted up and ready to go, Noshka will look over. All right, before we go, I'm gonna go say goodbye to Ma, and she heads inside to go offer her farewells to her mother while she's headed out.
What's your mom's last name?
Stormhowl.
Still, tell Miss Storm how I said hi.
Yeah, you head in the house to your mother, who is at the moment. Let me see something real quick.
Of her two parents, her mother was the adventurer. Her father was always like skilled craftsman.
Yeah, honestly, at the moment, I think what she's doing is carving.
Mhm.
She's not a craftsman like your father is, but she does carve just as a hobby.
Yeah.
So you head into the house, and she's just sitting on a chair, looking out over the ocean, functionally, like just sitting on like a porch, with a solid bit of wood in hand and a little hand axe that she's just slowly sliding chunks of it off with. Najka?
Just wanted to let you know, I'm about to head out to gather the materials for my final trial.
Oh, it's that time already, isn't it?
I
Where are you heading?
Well, I've gathered some of my friends from the school academy. I've gathered some of my friends from the school, and we're all going to kit up and head into the jungle. We've got permission from the mayor. We're going to follow the river, find some materials, and bring them back.
She has a look on her. She has like a look on her face that indicates that she's trying to recall something. When you're in the jungle, not all the plants there are friendly.
All right, keep eyes open for dangerous plants.
Anything that's particularly vibrant color seems unnaturally so. Stay away from it.
All right. Any other advice?
Yeah, watch out for your smaller friends. There are some of the plants will lay low to the ground and can swallow them whole, especially the fish.
I'll keep an eye out for grouper.
Yeah, that's his name. I'm confident you've got the hammer with you, so I'm confident you can deal with any of the medium-sized land beasts. But keep an eye out for the flying beasts. They tend to be opportunists.
All right, I'll bring a crossbow with.
Yeah, make sure. Anyone that doesn't, make sure they've got one. Other than that, guard your back, stay safe.
Love you, Ma. See you when I get back.
She'll reach out.
She'll give her mother a hug.
Yeah, she'll give the hug and then firm grip on the shoulder, silently giving you that silent, verification of trust.
Yeah, she'll head back out into the forge. All right, everyone here, if you know how to point and pull a trigger, grab a crossbow.
Oh,
Do you have short bows?
Got those two.
All right, I'll grab a short bow.
so much more elegant, babe. Good choice.
Just don't not have something with range on it, because there's a good chance you might be attacked by flying things.
Meanie Manny has that pouch.
Yeah, you guys have
attached
the
to his belt again.
thing, so I'm not as worried about you guys.
How did the crossbows do being underwater?
I mean, better than like a bow.
Okay.
Crossbows are actually one of the weapons that do actually still perform decently underwater.
No, I know mechanically. I'm wondering, like, Grouper's asking in terms of rust.
Oh yeah, I mean, our material doesn't rust that much.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll take one.
And
I mean,
to be fair, most of it's treated wood. It's covered in an oil lacquer that keeps it from absorbing too much water, so they can get wet fairly effectively without being bothered. The most you have to worry about, you might have to replace a string, but I can bring extras.
Sure, or I can. That's an interesting idea. I wonder if I could use some of the fish gut that I use on my violin. Do you think it's got the same tensile strength?
If you wind it into a tight enough cord, probably.
Okay.
I could.
Yeah. Well,
I might be able to do something with that.
I'm gonna tell you what. Why don't we do that, and then maybe you come back and you've got an extra idea. Some waterproofing, additional waterproofing for your family's crossbows.
Worth considering. We'll get everybody kitted out.
All right. You all get kitted out, and you prepare to head out on your last big adventure of the summer. And that's where we're going to end for the week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.